Welcome class. I'm going to give you a short video on significant figures, okay, or as abbreviated Sig Figs, okay. So the easy one part is, what are significant figures? Well, any non-zero is going to be a significant figure. So that's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Anytime you see those non-zeros, that's going to be a significant figure. It's only when we have zeros that we start getting problems. Okay, so there are 3 cases for zeros that we have to follow to figure out whether a zero is going to be a significant figure. Okay, the first one is leading zeros. Okay, now we don't normally write numbers such as 100 with a leading zero, but it's kind of understood. So here, that leading zero is not going to be significant. Okay, so anytime we have a leading zero, it's not going to be a sig fig. Okay, all right, and then we have, that was rule number 1. For rule number 2, we're going to have zeros that are sandwiched between non-zeros. Okay, so this would be our 1, 0, 1, 5, 47. Okay. Anytime we have a zero sandwiched between non-zero numbers, yes, this is going to be a significant figure. The last, and probably the hardest zero to determine whether it's a significant figure, is the trailing zero. That's number 3. So any zero at the end of a number. Okay, so back to our earlier example of 100. Okay, those are trailing zeros, but they're to the left of the decimal place. Okay, so if they're to the left of the decimal place, then no, they're not significant. Okay, however, if we have trailing zeros that are to the right of the decimal place, okay, so let's say we write something like 0.0100, then yes, those zeros are significant. Okay, so yes, sig figs. So these 2 zeros are significant. Now this zero is still a leading zero, and it's still not significant. So in this number we have the 1 that's significant and the 2 zeros. So we have 3 sig figs. Okay, so a few examples. Okay, so 507, okay, that's a sandwiched one, so obviously we have 3, okay, and then if we have 5.07, okay, that is still sandwiched between 2 non-zeros, so we still have 3 sig figs. Okay, now if we have something like 0.057, okay, this is a leading zero, so it's not significant, and then we have the 2 non-zeros, so we only have 2 sig figs here. Okay, now if we have something like 0.0570, that's a trailing zero, but it is to the right of the decimal place, so we go back to having 3 sig figs. Okay, and then numbers such as 150, okay, now this is going to have 2 sig figs because that is a trailing zero, but it's to the left. Okay, now if we really wanted to express that as having 3 sig figs, we really need to write this in scientific notation. 1.50 times 10 to the second. That way we can easily specify that we know this to the ones decimal place, and so then this would give us our 3 sig figs. Okay, hope that helps you identify your significant figures. Our next video will be doing calculations on sig figs.